Hello, Chloe from Veggie Magnifique here, and I am La Dame aux Camellias today. Camellias and daffodils from the lovely spring garden. I am going to talk about bright line eating again today, my third video on the subject. It has become really a part of my life. That's really the topic that I'm covering today, is this acceptance that one has to have as an addict. At a certain point in your recovery, you have to either accept that abstinence is always going to be part of your life or continue to battle with recovery. I had a really successful beginning journey with bright line eating, and then I got a bit cocky because I thought that I could just go it alone and stop using the bright line eating tools, stop using the food plan, just kind of like freestyle it now that I had quote unquote healed my food addiction. So as a result of that, I ended up getting into all kinds of madness around food, and I realized that my food plan, my bright line eating food plan, and the activities that go along with bright line eating, such as social connection, are really the rudder of my existence. I need them and I thrive on them. I am so happy to engage with my program every day. It does not feel like a jail at all. It feels like freedom. It feels like the foundation that allows me to thrive and expand and be confident, be grateful and generous and happy and just all kinds of things. As you can tell, I can't say enough good things about doing bright line eating. Now, bright line eating isn't for everybody, but from a food addict standpoint, if you do have trouble around food and you're always kind of struggling with quantities and should I like juice fast today because yesterday I was just out of control with food and ate way too much, all of that madness that just takes over your life and means that you can't flourish and engage with the beauty of your life on a daily basis because you're just mired in this really kind of boring obsession that's keeping you small. I don't want to be a prisoner to that. So for me, bright line eating is my lifeline and absolutely love it. Now, one of my activities that I do every day to engage with my program is I read my daily reader. I have it right here. It's called Food for Thought. And the one that was on March the 8th, which really struck a chord, is called Normal Eating. It says, the idea that we will one day be able to eat spontaneously like normal people is a delusion. We compulsive overeaters tend to think that once we lose our excess pounds, we can go back to normal eating. Not so. When we accept our permanent need to abstain, when we accept the fact that we can never return to what we thought was normal eating, then we can stop making irrational attempts at experimentation which always fail. By accepting our disease and learning to live with it, we become sane and free. We see that our new eating plan is really very normal. It was the old compulsive overeating habit, which was abnormal in the extreme. Yes. So after having got out of the mess, when I started bright line eating boot camp, getting back into it, I am now even more committed. I think I had to kind of experiment, make those crazy experiments that they were mentioning in the book there. Because now that I've kind of tasted freedom and retasted craziness and just despair, and now that I've come back to bright line eating fully, I feel such a sense of relief and acceptance. I think that's the key word for today. Acceptance that once an addict, always an addict, and that's okay, because when you find the program and the recovery for you and that works for you, that's freedom, and that recovery plan is your friend, and there is no going back to a normal way of being without any kind of program or structure to keep you in place, because that way of behaving before was not normal. And taking care to make sure that you have a balanced meal every breakfast, lunch and dinner. And my way of taking care of doing that is following a food plan and weighing my food, because otherwise things just get kind of wonky and I eat too much of that and not enough of that, and then I'm not nourished, and then in the afternoon I'm like, what can I have to just kind of, It's easy to get lost and then end up in this situation between meals where you're like, hungry for something, but what is it? It's so easy to just like reach for a little snack here and there, just to kind of either, you know, to nourish yourself, but also out of boredom, also because you're feeling really strong emotions and you don't know how to deal with them, and you feel like you shouldn't be having these strong emotions. So if you just had a little something, then it would dampen it and it would take the edge off. That used to be absolutely me, and there's no shame around it. That nobody should feel shame, because this is our current food climate, is what everybody does, and so you're just kind of following the norm basically. But for a certain type, a food addict who doesn't really know when to stop when they're not hungry anymore, that can end in weight gain, in tiredness, in shame, in beating yourself up, in feeling like you're less than, in just feeling like you're not being your best self and you're not living your best life. And so, I mean, it's not for everybody. As I say, bright line eating isn't for everybody, but it's certainly helped me to give myself some structure, because my life is kind of like wibbly wobbly. I've got 3 different jobs, and I often work from home, and I'm looking after a little baby, and I live in a foreign country, and things can just get a little bit. So if ever I was feeling discombobulated in the past, which was often because of all of those factors, I would turn to food, and now I don't. And it makes me feel so happy. The difference is truly night and day, and I feel so grateful for Susan Pearce Thompson and the Bright Line Eating community and all the wonderful people in the Facebook groups who are there every day supporting each other, loving each other up, and understanding each other. I think that it's difficult to understand what a food addict goes through if you're not one yourself. So that's what I really, really appreciate with the Bright Line Eating community. And yeah, long may it prosper. And if you're interested in bright line eating, I think the first step to take is to take Susan Pearce Thompson's susceptibility quiz. I'll link that down below, and you'll see where you are on a scale of 1 to 10. If you're a 10 plus plus plus, like me, it means you're incredibly susceptible to the pull of addictive foods, and you would probably do really well to get a food program in place if that addictive behavior around food is affecting your daily happiness and well-being. And this word acceptance could sound like, oh, you know, just kind of like taking it lying down and being like, okay, I accept that this is my reality. But actually, in my current state, I love acceptance. I don't feel that acceptance is giving up. I feel that acceptance is looking at things face on, being truthful to yourself, knowing thyself, and using that knowledge to take your life into your own hands, to try and avoid having your buttons being pushed, and then having a strategy when those buttons are inevitably pushed, and making progress every day towards feeling free. So that's all I have to say. Actually, no, that's not all I have to say for today, because I've got so much to say about bright line eating. So I hope I explained all of that well. I'm not sure that I did. The best person to go to if you want clarity about the whole brain chemistry of food addiction is Susan Pearce Thompson. So I recommend checking out her weekly vlogs or going to the Bright Line Eating website. So that's it for today. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!